And welcome to the 8th episode of the Sports Page for the fall semester, where we cover anything and everything UW Oshkosh athletics and sports from across the state of Wisconsin. We got a lot in store for this one, so be sure to tune in for the whole hour. Again, we are on the Sports Page every Monday night from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on 90.3 WRST-FM or on WRST's YouTube channel. If you miss an episode, don't forget to tune in and re-listen on our website at WRST.org or on the Radio FX app by typing in 90.3 WRST. My name is Braden Junkers, Sports Director for WRST. I'm happy to be joined by Operations Manager Jacob Link and Sports Assistant Justice Sear. Guys, how are you doing on this fine Monday, the first Monday in November?
I'm doing great. It's one of my favorite days of the year when college basketball tips off, specifically D1 men's college basketball tips off. Watched St. Bonaventure versus Bradley at 10 o'clock this morning. So that was a really good game. I'm excited for, of course, the Badgers to get going. So a lot in store for me.
Yeah, it was an interesting Monday afternoon here on campus. I know there was a lot of people that seemed to be absent from some of my classes. Don't know if they partied too hard for Halloween weekend or not. I know things didn't go exactly planned for the volleyball team on Halloween. We'll kind of talk about that more. But no, I'm doing pretty good, Braden, and I can't wait to get this episode started.
So in today's episode, we'll look back, recap UW Oshkosh's loss at UW-Platteville on Saturday, and what the final two games will look like, and will there be someone new taking snaps at QB1? We'll then look over to UW Oshkosh volleyball, who arguably has the game of the year this Friday as they host number 4 UW Eau Claire at the Call of Sports Center at 7 p.m. on Friday night. We'll then look at the Milwaukee Bucks after their first 6 games of the season, and if they look different or better than last year's team. And then we'll finally look at what the future could look like for the Packers with Matt LaFleur after the loss yesterday to the Carolina Panthers. But first, we'll take a quick 2-minute break, come back with our first segment, which is UW Oshkosh football. And who will we see listed as the starting quarterback Saturday versus UW Stevens Point? Keen, or will it be A.J. Korth? Tune in after this quick break. Again, you're listening to the Sports Page on 90.3 WRST-FM Oshkosh. As we'll get into segment number 1, it's UW Oshkosh football, as sadly on Saturday they suffered their second straight loss at UW-Platteville, 21-14, as the Titans now fall to 4-4 and 2-3 in WIAC play. But Justice, you and I were on the call, and I mean, it felt like Oshkosh in the first half. It wasn't really great. They got a touchdown, but I mean, we saw in the fourth quarter they put in A.J. Korth as quarterback, who's been used as a Taysom Hill type gadget player, but then he actually was taking snaps as QB1, which was very odd to see. What did you think of that?
The big takeaway that I had from that is that kind of all season it feels like most of the Oshkosh offense has been like big player bust. We saw that with Hunter Gibson when he scored the touchdown, and that was the only possible way it felt like they could score a touchdown in the first half. And then when Korth came in, they come in at their own 11, drive down 89 yards on a methodical drive that we haven't really seen all year, and punch it home on a nice throw and catch by Kevon Holloway. I mean, this is a offense that has just struggled, and A.J. Korth seemed like a breath of fresh air, actually throwing the ball and playing quarterback.
And yeah, just as you and I were mentioning before the broadcast, you said to me, well, why don't we see A.J. Korth? He was 100% passing for the first time. I mean, he finished the game 8 for 14. I mean, it was unbelievable what we saw from him. 78 yards and a touchdown. I mean, will we see him as QB1 the rest of the year? But I mean, we'll pause on that one. Quinn Keene, though, finished the day 142 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. But again, like we mentioned, I mean, who do you roll with here? Quinn Keene has been stellar, and stellar is the right word to say when he found Hunter Gibson for a 69-yard touchdown pass.
Schwalbe off the side. Really slow play action.
It already started. We just couldn't hear it. But
He's got Gibson. Catches it at the 25. 10-5. Touchdown. Titans. Keene connects with Hunter Gibson. And it is an electric play.
I mean, Justice, going back to that, it felt like in the booth for both of us, it was finally a positive in the stat book. But with Keene, it didn't look like he struggled. It was just, they were throwing a lot of, Oshkosh threw basically the kitchen sink out there.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Gabe Munoz, Gabe Torres, Tommy Teberg, LJ Dagan, Jaden Sharkey, all playing in this game. Quick overreaction. It felt like we may have given up on the season and contending for anything to do with the postseason, because when you travel to a place like Platteville, you want your best guys always. Not saying that these aren't the best guys. I certainly don't, are involved with the team every day, but usually you're calling on juniors and seniors. That drive when we did Korth, it looked like a team that we might see next year. And that leads into my answer for the question of who should be quarterback.
Yeah, but to finish on A.J. Korth, on that big drive, he found Kevon Holloway for his first collegiate touchdown, and it was a very impressive throw, just tipped it around, but Pulse is a little bit better.
Third down. Korth looks. Cowbells ringing. Emil Jackson motioning to his right. They give it to him. No, they don't. They fake it. Korth looking, finding in the end zone. Got it down. Touchdown. I can't see what it is. I think it's Holloway.
And I mean, it was, Justice, didn't you agree? It felt like a breath of fresh air. Kevon Holloway, looking at the stat line, that was his first, I'm just making sure, that was his first collegiate touchdown. I mean, good for Kevon. He's a great receiver. We're seeing a lot of time this year. But, I mean, that drive, we were both very confused on who was all out there. Emil Jackson had one carry. He got a 26-yard burst, flipped the field basically from around the 26 all the way to 51. But it's going to be, I feel like in my opinion, my answer has to be, it's got to be A.J. Korth. You got to roll with a guy that showed that he can put a drive together and lead a team to victory. I mean, you're playing against Stevens Point, who got their first conference win in almost 6 years, and you play Whitewater. I feel like it might be time to shake it up, just because for Keene it was tough not having London Little. It was tough not having a lot of the guys. Ben Vlasky was absent after the second quarter with an injury. I mean, it was tough. When you don't have your playmakers, it's tough to be able to roll with an offense. I mean, for Korth, he kind of almost made chicken salad with most of the guys he had with that crew. But I mean, Jacob, now it's time for your take. What do you think to that question? Quentin Keene or AJ Korth for the 2 remaining games of this season?
I don't think it really matters overall because we both know how the final 2 games are going to go. It's going to be a win against Stevens Point. If they do not win against Stevens Point, then some major changes are going to happen in the leadership of this football program. But they're going to beat Stevens Point. I don't know the last time they lost to Stevens Point. That's got to be over 10 years ago at this point. But, Whitewater, they're going to lose to. We haven't beaten Whitewater since 2019. I know that one because I was there at the game. It's when they ended up winning the WIAC title on the final game of the season. But you look at these stats on the offense, there has to be some adjustments. And what's kind of curious to me is, you look at halftime against this game against Platteville. At halftime, they come out in the third quarter. Now, this is where usually at halftime you make adjustments. Coaching staffs make adjustments when you are losing and you have time to talk with your team. The adjustments that were made, if there was any adjustments, led to a punt, an interception, and another punt. The first 3 drives out at halftime. Even if you look at the first 3 drives of the game, those ones are scripted out. You already know what you're going to play. You start off with a punt, punt, punt. 3 straight punts. That is just unbelievable, frankly. And you look at the time of possession, Platteville led 35-24 time of possession. Not to mention, in that third quarter, which I mentioned, you got to have some adjustments. Frankly, there must not have been any adjustments made because Platteville led 10 minutes to 4 minutes and 20 seconds in possession time. You mean to tell me we only had the ball for 4 minutes the entire third quarter? That is unbelievable. The offense is only 5 for 14 on third down. That follows a trend that we've seen where it's around 33% on third down this season. 1 out of every 3 third down attempts, they convert. This is just unbelievable. Even with the total offense, Platteville had almost 400 yards of total offense. We had 274. The ground game was non-existent. 54 net yards on the ground. There needs to be some changes if this team wants to even compete against Whitewater, but frankly, I think the season is done, and again, there needs to be something talked about amongst this team because it felt like for the majority of that Platteville game when I was listening to you guys on the call, it felt like a blowout, even though it wasn't. That's the crazy part. 21-14 was the final score. But you know what? It felt like a blowout because the offense could not move the ball to save their lives. The defense, you can't complain about. They held a guy like Nathan Uselding to no touchdowns at all. Only 170 passing yards. Now, they did give up, 223 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. But for a team that averaged 35 points a game going into it, that's a win. You also limited them to 4 of 12 on third downs. There's nothing you can say that was on the defense for this game and for the entire season. But frankly, going back to your point, Braden, it doesn't matter who they're going to put out there because this team still is going to struggle on third down and still struggle to put up points.
Yeah, to answer you, Jacob, the last time Oshkosh lost to Stevens Point was 2018. They lost 27-21. The last time Stevens Point beat Oshkosh here in Oshkosh, 2009, 24-17. So certainly would be a pretty historical win. And I'm going to agree 100% with you, Jacob. I do think it matters a little bit just because going into next season, we don't have Quentin Keene. He's a senior. AJ Korth is going to play next year. So I think it has to be AJ Korth. You look at what you have towards the future. Bring most of the guys that they had play last week or this past weekend and see what you can do. I don't think Ben Volavsky is going to play. Maybe run Emil Jackson, who looked good in the few opportunities that he had. I took away the -17 from Quentin Keene, so I ended up with 20 rushes for 71 yards. That was a big thing in this game, is if you can't establish a run, there's nothing that you can do because, again, you're just falling behind the sticks. And on 3rd and 10, what are you going to do? Throw the ball, because that's what you have to do. And Oshkosh runs into the situation, and we've said it time and time again, and it starts to get really frustrating because you're running into the same situation that you have all season, is that you're getting into downs that you have to pass in, and you don't have a choice. And that's the thing with Oshkosh this year, is that they have not found a way to adapt to whatever the opponent is giving them, whether it be in the first or the second half, and make the adjustments from week to week.
And going back to this game against Stevens Point, this could be a close game. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. After the way that we played against Eau Claire on homecoming, we only beat them by 7 points.
Homecoming.
On homecoming. At home. Right? This isn't like we're going on the road to Eau Claire. This is on our own turf. We barely beat Eau Claire. Who beat Eau Claire? Stevens Point. What's astonishing to me, and I've said this multiple times now to you guys, River Falls took down Eau Claire 77-23. Right?
And they took down Whitewater 52-14 last week.
But somehow we beat River Falls. That makes no sense to me. River Falls put up 77 points against Eau Claire. We could only manage 28, and we beat them by 7. If that's the way that this team is going to come out and play, it could be a long game against Stevens Point. Stevens Point averages 23 points a game, and they have played some very, very tough teams. We average less points than Stevens Point does, which is frankly embarrassing.
It's a concern, I feel like. And the big thing is, though, on top of that, I talked about it time and time again, just as you heard me most of the time, you got to force turnovers. They didn't do that. If you lose the turnover battle, you're not going to win. Yes, you held their top receiver, Trevor Seisey, to 3 receptions, 56 yards. He had 4 straight games of 100-plus receiving yards. I mean, the defense played exceptional. It was just they were on the field way too much. You can't be able to stop teams when you basically are out of gas halfway through the third quarter on defense because your offense is not finding ways. I mean, it's going to be tough because Stevens Point's a team I don't think you should sleep on. They were known as the team that everybody's like, okay, Stevens Point. They're okay. They look like they're a legit team now. And I feel like for Oshkosh, you got to go out and you got to throw the first punch and you got to show Stevens Point that you're the better team. But it's also going to be, will changes be made? That's the one thing that we have to wait and see on Saturday because we don't know what the style looks like for what's going to be happening.
And you know what's another thing that's embarrassing, Braden? Just looking at some of these stats. Bryson Cashin for Stevens Point, he has gained 677 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns so far this season in 8 games played. Our leading rusher is Ben Volavsky, a guy who transferred here. So he's only played in 5 games, but he's only gained 416 yards on the ground. That's not net. That's just the amount that he has gained, and he has 4 touchdowns. So you're meaning to tell me that our best running back has less yards than Stevens Point's best running back. That is why I think this game could be very close, unfortunately, if you're a Titans fan.
Yeah, it's really going to be a big concern. But, I mean, let's move off of football because our next segment coming up is what will need to happen for UWO to take down UW-Eau Claire on Friday night and win the WIAC regular season title. All of that after this quick 2-minute break. Again, you're listening to the Sports Page here on 90.3 WRST-FM Oshkosh. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sports Page here on 90.3 WRST-FM Oshkosh. If you just missed segment number 1, you can go back and listen to it on WRST.org. But now to segment number 2. It's towards UW Oshkosh Volleyball, who takes on number 4 ranked UW Eau Claire on Friday. And winner of that will get the regular season crown of the WIAC. I mean, guys, it's going to be a great matchup. Hopefully a great crowd at home at the Cove Sports Center. But, I mean, Justice, take it away. You and I are going to be on the call. How are you feeling starting your prep work for this week?
I'm very excited. I mean, as you always get for a game that has as much as this one on the line, conference championship, regular season, obviously. It's a lot of fun. And the biggest thing, and you said great crowd, I urge everybody that has the time on Friday to make their way to Cove, because this is the biggest game so far. Hopefully we will have bigger ones, right? But this is a monumental game for this volleyball team that has put in a lot of work and has been awesome throughout the season. And you just got to go and support the girls this Friday.
And the big thing is, though, we're saying this is a public announcement to everybody. If you are an Oshkosh fan and you live like 30 minutes away, show up. It's going to be number 3 versus number 4. WIAC title on the line. That's all we have to say. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be loud. It's going to be packed. Energy is going to be great. But, I mean, we talk about energy and a lot of big talents. UW Eau Claire. I've already started my prep, Justice. 3 players with over 250-plus kills this season. That's not a typo. That is stats. And they also rank number 1 in the NCAA in assists per set with 12.89. We all think that Oshkosh is a very talented team, which they are. I feel like Eau Claire is almost about that same level, but a little bit more, I think. But we're going to have 2 of the best outside hitters in the country for Division III. Abby Stanwood, I mean, she's unbelievable. 413 kills this season. She doubled her total from last year. But then, we can't forget Samantha Perlberg. I mean, you talk about prep for a game, you talk about your pregame show. Samantha Perlberg's always going to be in that because she's talented enough that she is like, every team has to scheme volleyball around her because she is that talented.
Yeah, certainly. And Stanwood is sitting at number 2 in the WIAC for most kills with, I'm trying to get the numbers here. Looks like I don't have them. Offhand, I'll probably give them to Jacob Link. He'll get it. He's very good at getting that research
413 kills so far this season.
413, and I'll have you stay with me here for Sammy Perlberg, who's sitting at number 1.
450.
Oh, look at that. Look at Junkers jumping in. Now, I do have the sets they did that in. Stanwood did it in 94. Perlberg in, or no. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'll go to you guys again for the stats. How many sets did they do it in?
Perlberg did in 94.
And Stanwood did it in 98.
All right, now I apologize.
So
I
Perlberg has the one up by.
Yeah, exactly. Most definitely. She has more kills in less sets, and that was the point I was getting at. The thing with Stanwood is, though, she's a lot more efficient than Perlberg, who swings it a lot. I mean, when we think about watching Titans volleyball, it's Sammy Perlberg swinging it like 30, 40 times a game. You know, if it's going 4 or 5 sets, it's her. It's a lot of her. And Stanwood is hitting 280 versus Perlberg's 246, and that's a lot. And the big thing for me is that as good as Perlberg is, Oshkosh cannot be as reliant on Perlberg this week against Eau Claire. When they played Juniata over the weekend and swept them, it was Grace Juergens who led the team with 12 kills. Sammy only had 10. I mean, yes, it's a sweep, so there's not a lot of points to go around. But Sammy not being the leader, when she's not, I mean, she's obviously, we want her to be the leader. When she has a clear number 2 behind her, whether it's Greer, whether it's Juergens, whether it's McInerney, the team is much better. It cannot be, on Friday, the Samantha Perlberg show. As much as we absolutely love her as a player, she cannot just be her alone. Somebody else needs to step up.
And one person, like you said, Justice, we got a quick jump to UW Eau Claire, and then we'll talk about Oshkosh. Alex Kiembel, She's the setter. I mean, this is not a typo. 819 assists this season as a freshman. I mean, she's basically the field general of that team, being able to set it up for everybody else on that team. Like, she plays a big role. She also leads the team in service aces with 45. I mean, she's talented as a freshman. But another freshman that is very talented, Claire McInerney. I mean, she has stepped up in a big way. In only 61 sets, she has 92 kills. Has not started a match yet. She comes off the bench. And Justice, you and I talked about it when we were calling that Platteville game. McInerney changed the momentum of that game.
McHenry. I think it's McHenry, right?
I think it's McInerney. That's how it's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
McInerney.
Because at the
I
beginning of
thought
the
so, too.
season, I swear when I listened to the recordings of how they say their name, it was McHenry, but
It's
who knows?
Patton that does the PA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Patton says it McInerney. But I am willing to double check and be wrong. I'm okay with that.
I'm used to having Brady Havlos, our sports information director, have the pronunciations right next to it and always practice it. It says McInerney. So Claire McInerney, she's been amazing. 92 kills in only 61 matches. I mean, sets, not matches. I mean, that's pretty impressive for just starting to get playing time with this team. But, guys, now for the predictions. How many sets and who wins? Justice, you first.
I mean, it has to go 5 sets. I feel like there's no other way. Both teams undefeated in conference play. Big wins against ranked opponents. I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody's more battle-tested than Oshkosh is. Even though Eau Claire has had their fair share of matches against top 25 opponents, I think Oshkosh, and with the last 5 matches, they have a crazy track record. I think it goes 5 sets. And, I mean, being the sports page on WRST, I feel like I am obligated to say that Oshkosh is going to win. But that's also how I feel, just because they're able to take control at the net a little bit more. Eau Claire doesn't do well in terms of being a good blocking team. And Oshkosh does that so well with their front line of Greer, Juergens, McInerney. Houston Samoy's done it over, Sammy Pro. Everybody's getting involved at the net for Oshkosh, and I think that's the thing to watch going into this game is if Oshkosh can, again, control the game and not allow Eau Claire to just swing freely with a good block, I think Oshkosh is going to win in 5.
It is McInerney, excuse me.
Yeah!
That just does not look like McInerney to me. And I will say, like, when you look at some of these, like, I can get Dukevich, you know what I mean? Like, that one's perfectly fine. Even, like, Shabilsky, our buddy, you know what I mean? Like, that's fine. I don't know why it's McInerney.
It's not every day you get to tell your boss he's wrong. So we're going to take that one well here in the studio, me and Junkers. But, Lane, continue on with your point.
No, overall, I mean, these two teams are just so close. You can't really separate them at all. I mean, looking at the top scorers for, both teams, each of them have 6 players that have scored over 100 points this season. Eau Claire has a better hitting percentage than Oshkosh does right now. Oshkosh hitting 230, and Eau Claire was hitting around 250 last time I checked. So they have that advantage there. Oshkosh has not hit very well these past couple games. I mean, sure, they completely destroyed Juniata, which that came to my surprise. But an even bigger surprise was the way they dropped the ball against Illinois Wesleyan. They hit just 167. You can't have that against a team like Eau Claire. Even that first set against Juniata, they hit 176. And, I mean, sure, Oshkosh does have the advantage here at Colf. You got to think that for most of WIAC sports, especially, again, go back to football. You look at football, only one road team has won all season in football. You got to think that the travel all the way from Eau Claire is going to have some effect on this Blue Golds team. Colf is going to be rowdy. I don't know if the Titan Thunder marching band will be there. Hopefully Titan Thunder is there, or the Bolt Band, I should say, because they're the marching band, they're Titan Thunder, but Bolt Band for inside Colf. But either way, it should be a rowdy atmosphere. But on the flip side of that, I will say there's nothing more Oshkosh than falling in the championship game of the WIAC tournament, of the WIAC regular season. Well, essentially the WIAC regular season championship, I should say. And then going to the Final Four. There's nothing more Oshkosh than that. So I don't know if that's going to be the wake-up call that this team needs, but I think it's not going to be the end of the world if they lose. Because one, they lost to a really good team in Eau Claire, and two, just look at historically in Oshkosh teams, they'll lose, a WIAC matchup, not be the number 1 seed, and then they'll still advance to the Final Four.
I'm going to say it all the time. Titans at 5. Just saying it right there. Titans at 5. But, that will conclude segment number 2 of the sports page. Again, coming up, segment number 3 is we'll also have, is this Bucks team better than last season? But also, we'll get a sports recap from Justice here when we come back from this break. Again, you're listening to the sports page here on 90.3 WRST-FM Oshkosh.
The sound of a baby bell.
I hope you know I was waiting for you to just say it. I'm just going to be like, Titans
They're
at 5.
talking about vowels and consonants. They try different sounds.
Lakers at 5.
Do you know how many times I've been disappointed?
I do. I feel
Wink.
the same way though.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the sports page here on 90.3 WRST-FM Oshkosh. If you missed segment number 2, don't forget to go back and listen to it on WRST.org. But for segment 3, before we get to the Milwaukee Bucks, Justice, what all happened to UW Oshkosh Athletics this weekend besides football and volleyball?
It was a busy weekend. A lot going on. For cross country, they hosted the WIAC Championship for the first time since 2015 at the brand new cross country ranch this weekend. The men's team placed 5th, tied with Whitewater, who ended up taking home the tiebreaker. Lacrosse would win the event. Cameron Cullen performed. Oh man, wow. That's rough right there. Cameron Cullen performed to the tune of a personal best with a 24-minute 6-second, good enough for 9th place, which would give him an all-WIAC second-team nod. Paul Proto would also achieve his first all-WIAC, placing 15th for an honorable mention. Trent Chadwick, Jason Skinkis, and Alex Peterson would all place for the Titans, setting personal records. The women's team claimed 6th place. Lacrosse would also take home first with 21 points for that. For Oshkosh, it was Elena Mitchell leading the Titans with a second-team honor with a personal record of 21 minutes, 49 seconds. Emma Boga was second for the Titans with 28th place and a personal record. And the final 3 places for the Titans were Gwen Feidel, Allison Vanderwagen, and Amari Siegfried. Swimming and diving was at home this weekend to take on Whitewater. The men's team ended up losing 92 to 196 with 3 wins coming from Leo Ramirez Gutierrez, Damon Saramet, and Charlie Cook. The women's team, on the other hand, pulled it out against the Warhawks, 158 to 141, with Callie DeBruin winning 3 events, Sienna Della Peruta taking 2, and Rowan Sinclair taking another. And Maya Indiraans got the brooms out for the diving events. And across the river, women's soccer shocked the Falcons of River Falls with a 2-0 finish on Saturday. Sophomore Maddie Daigle scored her first goal of her career in the 55th minute, and not even 6 minutes later, Maris Hewen put in the second. Mallory Curhins shut out the Falcons, saving 3 shots on goal in the match. And because the Pointers defeated the Blue Devils 1-0, that means they secure the 6th seed in the WIAC tournament and the Titans will be on the road for a rematch with River Falls this Wednesday in the quarterfinal matchup. That will take place at Raymer Soccer Stadium in River Falls this Wednesday at 2 p.m.
Thank you, Justice. And now to segment number 3. Guys, the Milwaukee Bucks are 4-2 on the season. Last year they fell in the first round to the Indianapolis Pacers. We all know how that went. But is this team now better? I know that they cut the salary of Damian Lillard, but they did sign former Pacer Miles Turner. I mean, the Bucks right now, I know they're 4-2, but they look like a dangerous team in the East. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, they really should be, 5-1, if I'm being completely honest with you. Watching that game on Saturday, they had so many opportunities to pull off the win against Sacramento. They lost 135-133, but what I was mostly irritated about, Giannis, awesome player. I love Giannis as a Bucks fan. Why in the last possession is he just driving to the hoop and throwing up a random shot as, the clock is at 5? You know what I mean? Like, he had plenty of time. He didn't need that. I know he's just trying to draw the foul, but that's something that Giannis, he's improved a lot in his game. The one thing that is not improved on is, reacting to officials' calls. I feel like he's more and more starting to complain when he's not getting foul calls or just trying to be out there and just draw the foul. But, when you're taught on the playground playing basketball, there are no fouls. You got to play through it all. You still got to find a way to finish. You know what I mean? And that's something that guys across the whole NBA don't do anymore. They don't just finish through the play. Giannis, he's such a big guy, so strong. Most of the time, he's good at finishing through the play, but as of late, I feel like because he's been starting to get more of those foul calls, he's just been trying to draw fouls and just try to get to the line, which is, to be completely honest, not a strong suit as free throw shooting. But that's neither here nor there. They really should be 5-1, Braden. They are much better, I think, than their record right now at 4-2 shows, and that's especially because of the play of Ryan Rollins. I don't think anybody in their right mind would have imagined Rollins would have dropped 30 against the Warriors. Like, are you kidding me? This is the guy who used to be on the Wisconsin Herd. I used to be there all the time talking to this guy after games because he wasn't seeing playing time on the Bucks. And now he's on the Bucks. He's their second leading scorer this season. A complete turnaround, and I think that just goes to show the scouting that we have here in Milwaukee. They're able to find talent that people would not have expected, to put a team together that I don't think people would have expected. Nobody expected Giannis to be an MVP. He came in as a project. Ryan Rollins, probably the same way. He's probably viewed more as a project. And now he's going to be a main starter. Same as AJ Green. Forgot about my guy AJ Green. I know, this is a guy who once went sturgeon spearing on Lake Winnebago. And you know that why? Because, again, another guy I got to talk to from being a beat reporter for the Advanced Titan, but covering the Hurt. This is another guy that was a project coming from UNI. And they've already had, 3 guys that nobody would have expected to start when they first joined the Bucks, I should say. Now, all 3 of them are starting. All 3 projects are starting, and this team's rolling.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's something that the Bucks do so well. I mean, you look at it, and my comparison for Ryan Rollins is going to be with the departure of Chris Middleton last year. I feel like it has to be Chris Middleton. Both are G League guys that have come on and taken big roles with the Bucks. I mean, as the second option, I think Ryan Rollins is going to be probably the most important piece of this team this year. If the Bucks are going to make a deep run in the East, which is depleted, if this is a year for the Bucks to make another run to a finals, it's probably this year with Tatum and Halliburton out for the Pacers and Celtics respectively. But yeah, it's the scouting of the G League. Chris Middleton, Christian Wood, AJ Green, Ryan Rollins. I mean, Giannis didn't play in the G League, but he certainly was just found somewhere in Greece. The guys in the scouting department, John Horst, all those guys do such a great job. Unless it comes to drafting, which is the reason why the Bucks are in the situation that they have been for how long. They can't find talent in the first or second round because they've either traded all the picks away or they've missed. I mean, you think like DJ Wilson, like what was he, like 14th, top 20 pick? Never turned into anything. Like it's picks like that. Picks like that. They just traded away both picks. What?
I mean, we could go down the whole list of bad Bucks draft picks.
Thon Maker was a great guy, but he could not really play that well at basketball.
The scouting department does a great job when it comes to not drafting. Now, whatever they do drafting-wise, I don't know. But this team this year is really good, and it's deeper, right? The issue that we had with the Bucks last year was the depth of the team. It was Giannis, Damian Lillard, Brook Lopez, maybe Chris Middleton if he shows up, and that's it. Like, nobody's coming off the bench. This year, guys have taken massive steps up, and with the signing of Miles Turner to make this team faster in transition and better defensively, this team looks way, way better than last year.
Justice, I think you stole my point. But, I mean, like you said, this team looks better. They look fast. They look like an athletic team that can space the ball out and get the ball down the court. I mean, you have Giannis. Your starters right now are Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's averaging 34. Ryan Rawlings, he has 18. Gary Trent Jr., 14 points. Gary Bird, AJ Green, he's got 12. And Miles Turner, yes, he has 9.8. But, I mean, he's still rolling at a big level. He leads the team in blocks. I mean, this guy's a defensive specialist, a guy that can grab rebounds. But, I mean, if you throw that out against any team, I don't think they want to face the Bucks later down the line. I know we're early in the season, but this roster, top to bottom, looks very talented. Yeah, there are some people that nobody's heard of, like Amir Coffey. I'm not trying to throw shade at Amir Coffey. Gary Harris. These are guys that when the Bucks sign him, you're like, who's this person? And they're making big impacts. I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. was a guy we traded for, and he's playing exceptional. He played exceptional last year. Cole Anthony, former first-round pick. We pick him up. He's coming off the bench, averaging 11 points in 19 minutes. This Bucks team looks good top to bottom. Analytics make this team look good. But, I mean, also, you got a guy in Giannis Antetokounmpo who is basically one of, if not the best player in all of the NBA. And, I mean, he's built this team. I know what Shams Charania says. Oh, Giannis is getting traded. Giannis is getting traded here. Giannis is getting traded here. Giannis is saying, no, Milwaukee's my home, and I'm going to want to bring back another championship. And I think that's exactly what they can do this year. We'll have to wait and see later down the line. But right now, they look like a championship contender.
And I think that has a lot to do with the backcourt that they have, right? Those guys like Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent Jr., and Kevin Porter Jr., Cole Anthony, defensively are so sound. They're really good. Something that the Bucks have really struggled with. Like, we're not allowing teams to shoot 43s a game and being like, okay, don't hit 40% of them, which seems like the scheme that they've had for years. I mean, I can, like, vividly remember the Jazz piercing us for, like, 45 threes in a game. And it was like, what is this defense? We're just letting them shoot. And I think the guys in the backcourt are taking big steps, as we said. Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent Jr. is such a good veteran to have on this squad. Your point of Amir Coffey and Gary Harris, right? Good guys to have 14th, 15th rotation on your bench. Like, I don't care what you do. Like, as long as they're on the team and if they can fill holes when they need, like Mark Sears, like former Alabama guard, that guy could maybe take a step up because we saw a lot of skill that he had at Alabama. There's so much promise on this team, along with having who should be the MVP so far this year in Giannis.
And one guy that we're all totally throwing under the radar, the best hype man in the NBA, Thanasis Antetokounmpo. What can you say about that guy? I mean, he's definitely, if you give a guy the bench player of the year or the hype man, that goes to Thanasis. He's just awesome. He's great on his podcast. He's great with everybody in the community. He's just an awesome guy. Jacob, why are you shaking your head about that one?
I'm just shaking my head because it's like, and he's only played in one game all season. You know what I mean? Like, I love Thanasis. He's, like you said, one of the great hype men of all time. But, you know, so was Robin Lopez. And I think that you always need a guy like that on your team. You know, I don't know if you really need to pay him a whole lot of money to do that. But I can't complain with... I feel like he's a package at this point with Giannis. The two come together.
Yeah.
If Thanasis is going to want to be here, then Giannis is going to want to be here. And at least we are keeping both of them, because if one of them wanted to leave, the other one is going to join them.
And I'm glad he's back to playing basketball after, what was it, a torn ACL, just a significant injury last year, missed the whole season. And he was like an assistant coach for us or something. Like, I'm just glad he's playing basketball, and it's good to see, you know, him doing what he loves.
And don't forget about the Wisconsin herd. They got Johnny Davis, Alex Antetokounmpo. They're going to be exciting to watch, too, as they're basically in our neighborhood. They're in Oshkosh as well. But that will conclude segment number 3. But as we come back after this break, segment number 4, what does the future look like for Matt LaFleur as the Packers head coach? Again, you're listening to the Sports Page here on 90.3 WRST-FM Oshkosh. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sports Page. Again, if you missed segment number 3 on the Milwaukee Bucks, go back and listen to it on WRST.org. But now the final segment of the night, sadly, as we have to end the show after segment number 4. Oh, no. But it's going to be on the Green Bay Packers and the status of Matt LaFleur, the head coach, after what was yesterday a pathetic loss, 16-13 to the Carolina Panthers. I mean, guys, Justice, I know you're a Saints fan, but you still are great with the Packers. Jacob, you're a diehard Packer fan, as myself. But the real punch in the gut today was that Packers receiving leader Tucker Kraft is out for the season with a torn ACL. And, I mean, it was a rough game yesterday, to say the least, after the Packers had a great win against the Steelers 2 weeks ago. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on that, but also on the status of Matt LaFleur? Is he in the hot seat, or is it just everybody's just like, oh my goodness, he shouldn't be the coach, and the play calling, stuff like that?
Well, first off, I just want to put it on the record that despite my allegiance to the New Orleans Saints, I am still a diehard Green Bay Packers fan. I have 2 Cheeseheads back at home. One I can't wear because it's like moldy because of how old it is. And the second one is like brand new because this Packers team, I'm going to ride and die with them. And I am going to keep riding and dying with them. Just like Mr. Ed Policy now is going to ride or die with Matt LaFleur, I think. Matt LaFleur is... it's like a coin, right? Like there's 2 sides to him. He's a really good head coach. Why is he a really good head coach? I don't know. I'm not with the team every day. Because the product that we see on the field and the play calling specifically is subpar and has been subpar for, this year, but I would even go back a couple of years. Josh Jacobs has not been great this year. He just hasn't been a factor. I don't know if it's the scheme that they're going with, if defenses are going like, okay, we're just not going to let Josh Jacobs beat us, or what. But we're not letting Jordan Love do anything. 16 out of 37 of his pass attempts this week were 5 or less air yards. So that basically, in layman's terms, is check down or screen. That's just not ideal. I think with a guy that has as much arm talent as Jordan Love has, it's just unbelievable. On passes that have went 10 or fewer air yards, he has the lowest air yards per attempt in the league at 1.3. It's just too much screens, and I think that's something that teams that have leaned on in this era of football is the RPO and the screen passes because of how low risk and high reward they are. But for the Packers, it just hasn't been working. To me, they need their guy that actually works with those plays, Jaden Reed, back if they're going to go back to running that offense.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. But also, Jordan Love, I think we can all agree, is playing at an MVP caliber level right now. 2,071 passing yards, 13 TDs, and only 3 interceptions. I mean, he's been playing out of his mind. But the one big thing is, with Tucker Kraft out, who is going to be receiver number 1? Is it going to be Romeo Doubs? Is it going to be Matthew Golden, who is the high-praised first-round draft pick? Or will it be Christian Watson, who in only 2 games, 6 receptions, 143 yards? I mean, he almost could be the leading receiver in 3 games and just has to put up almost 200 yards receiving or something like that.
I'm going to have to disagree on this with you, Junkers. I don't know who in their right mind thinks that Jordan Love is playing at an MVP level. I'm sorry. After watching the last game, before the last game, I could have seen it. I could have seen the argument. Last game, when I see him look down the field and roll out and just throw it into the back of the end zone, and a Panther just sitting right there waiting to catch it. Now, luckily, it just dropped out of his hands. But there's so many times he just looks to just air it down the field into triple coverage, and it has no chance. Even his interception, there was no chance on that interception. I feel like this team is like watching, the Titans. You just don't understand what's going on in some of the coaches' heads sometimes, even in some of the players' heads. Now, again, before this game, Britton, I completely agree. Jordan Love played awesome. But this is the Jordan Love that we came to know last year. Very up and down. There's some games when he looks fantastic, and other games like this past one where, I get he's running for his life. There was not a whole lot of protection for him. But some of the decisions I just was unsure about. Even, of course, Justice, I completely agree with you with the screen passes. We do that all the time. And it never seems to work. They always snuff it out. They always blow it up behind the line of scrimmage. And then after we're in a 3rd and 11 situation, then we're required to just blast it down the field. Instead, why not work over the middle? That's something that we complain about the Titans not doing all the time. Do the short passes. Doesn't need to be a screen pass. Just a simple slant or anything. Now it's going to be a lot harder now that we don't have our starting tight end in there, and that was an ugly injury. You could tell as soon as that helmet hit his knee that he was done. But the stats are very deceptive on this game because it shows the Packers led in first downs and time of possession and 3rd down efficiency. That's not at all how I felt about the game. I felt like going into that game we should have been up 21-0 at halftime. Instead, complete dog of a contest. You think about McManus too. He knocks in that field goal. That's a completely different game as it is. Special teams are always going to come back to bite some of these squads for the Packers. But just overall, I like in Josh Jacobs, he was ineffective, but he still had a touchdown in 87 yards. So I just don't understand what's going on in LaFleur's head with some of these play calls. The offense looked awful. Sure, the defense didn't look as great as some games, but in an NFL game, when you hold a team to, 16 points, you got to feel pretty good about it.
But also on top of that, the Carolina Panthers offensive line had guys that nobody's ever heard about, that were second stringers, that held Micah Parsons to 0 QB pressures.
You're telling me you haven't heard of Ike Ekwonu?
It mad him. That was about it.
Dude, it's like North Carolina State, I think, alum? Somewhere around there. He's a dog, dude. And we saw it this week because he held Parsons to 0 pressures when Ekwonu was guarding him. That's how good he was. I think this Panthers team flies under the radar because their defense is really good. They have a lot of names. I think they're still missing that guy under center, Bryce Young. I don't think he is the guy there yet. But going back to Jacob's point of saying, I feel like we should be up 20 points in this game. I feel like we've said that in the Cowboys game, the Commanders game, the Browns game, the Bengals game, this game. How many times are we going to not take advantage of opportunity after opportunity after opportunity? We should be scoring. I don't know what their red zone percentage is, and even when they just get to the other opponent's side of the field. But it doesn't feel like they're being efficient enough. And let's take it a step further. Why is Haversick not kicking? He holds the franchise record in one game. He comes out, kicks. The franchise record is wonderful for was it the 1 week or 2 weeks? He was 2 weeks here, right? Didn't miss a kick. He was awesome. He's younger than McManus, getting paid less than McManus, a option potentially for the future. Why not go for this guy instead of an aging guy who seemed to, despite being awesome last year? I thought McManus was great last year. Only missed the one kick, it felt like, in the playoffs, of course. Haversick, is the guy we need to go to, because we can't just take missed field goals, because we lost by a field goal.
2 points for you, Justice. 1, you are correct. Your guy Ekem is from NC State. And 2, the Packers are 60% in the red zone this season, which is 13th in the NFL.
Okay, so it's higher than I thought, but it still feels like maybe on turnovers there's something they're not taking advantage of. I'd have to dig deeper for sure into the stats and maybe even watch games over. But it just feels like, especially the second quarter, it feels like at halftime something happens to awaken the other team and slumber the Packers, because they just struggle to take advantage of opportunities and keep the foot on the gas pedal.
100%. And I think the big thing is, though, like we said, Haversick is 26 years old. McManus is 34. You can have Haversick on that team for as long as you want. I mean, Crosby was there for, I don't even remember how long, but a long time, and he was the franchise kicker. This kid just said, okay, Crosby, this is my second ever game. I'm just going to break your field goal record and drill a 61-yarder. And, I mean, McManus, he is still injured, and they're still having him kick. Jacob, you're a kicker. How tough is it having an injury on your kicking leg?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It affects everybody differently. I think you got to go with the hot hand, though. It's like I said last week, it's like basketball. I mean, just because, Steph Curry's going to knock in a couple shots, you're going to go with Steph Curry. You're not going to go with somebody else. So I don't know why they're sticking with McManus, especially the way that he played in this last game. I don't see why he's still on the team for this upcoming week.
100%. And then finally for you guys, just a little recap for people watching sports. The Bucks tip off against the Pacers tonight at 6 p.m. right after the show. And then the Packers take on the Philadelphia Eagles next week. And that's going to really wrap it up. How do you guys feel that Jair Alexander is going to be in the Eagles jersey when he's known as a Packer?
You're going former playoff matchups, huh? Last year, Bucks play the Pacers in the playoffs, lose. Packers play the Eagles, lose. I mean, Jair's my favorite all-time Packer. I liked him when he came in, was it 2018, 2017, when we drafted him out of Louisville. And it sucks to see. I don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference, but I do know that I am about sick of the notification seeing that Howie Roseman has made another move when he picks up edge rusher Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins. It seems like there's not 2 weeks we can go without Howie Roseman somehow rounding out his football team when they're already such a good squad. Why can no other football roster do that? Why can the Packers not do that? Why can the Bills not do that? Can somebody else make a trade? Because I'm about had it with Howie Roseman.
I think that's a big thing is the Packers, you got to find someone that can get the production of Tucker Kraft, and is that going and making a trade? I mean, that's what we got to wait on. But last point for you guys as we're around the minute and a half mark left on the show, do you think Matt LaFleur is on the hot seat or no?
I think he should be after that performance against Carolina. He's a guy that can always get the Packers to the playoffs, get them a game away from the Super Bowl. He's not a guy, though, that can get the job done. Now, that was the way it was for McCarthy all for but one season. It might be too early to say. I mean, for all we know, he could turn it around and they could win the Super Bowl. And we could be sitting here in February being like, yeah, he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. But as of right now, I think it's like UWO. With all the talent that they have, right now is a disappointing season. And I get that technically they only have 2 losses now, but that tie is still going to hurt them as a loss if you look in the standings, because they do it by win percentage, not just like losses. So essentially that counts as your 3rd loss. And I don't know, as I'm going to wrap this up real fast here, but I don't think it's too early to tell, but I think he should be on the hot seat.
I feel like it has to be a yes, just because he has not made it over the hump. Sorry, Justice, didn't mean to take your time, but this will wrap up episode number 8 of the Sports Page. Again, Jacob Link, Justice here, Braden Junker saying have a great night, everybody. Again, this was the Sports Page on 90.3 WRST-FM, Oshkosh.
You're good. I don't really have much to say. I was just going to say that Ed Powell